Hi, this is James. Today in my little video podcast to do with cinema, I just want to cover some of the history, brief history of some of the conditions and that you needed to pass, etc. to run Firebox. This is an old Firebox in the Sun Theatre. I'm actually halfway through installing a DCI projector right here. But today I wanted to talk about how in the old days, when they used to use acetate film, how the projectionists would have to have a degree in projection, and that involved having basically an electrician's certificate and some other training to deal with the conditions and dangers of running a Firebox, as acetate film is very combustible and very dangerous. So much so that I'll show you in a second. The port glasses in traditional Fireboxes would have emergency shutters, and you'll see down here there's also an emergency escape chute for if the film did get on fire and it was on a bad way. Well, you want to basically block off all oxygen inlets to the Firebox as you can and get out of there as fast as you can. That's very rare, but that was a possibility, and they had to have facilities in the Firebox to do so. So let me just run around the camera and I'll show you how this Firebox has changed over the years, and you'll see some of those old scars left from that type of history to showing film in the past. Firstly, let's have a look at the fact that these are new port glasses, but traditionally, as you may see with this port glass over here, I guess from another angle, the port glasses could be let go or have a hatch at the top, which they could pull a lever, and all the port glasses, as you would imagine, there'd be 2, 3 or more, due to the fact that you would always have 2 projectors and switching between them to close the port glasses and to make them airtight to stop the fire from spreading if it did get worse. You also would remember that here in a traditional film projector, when they used to actually have up the top here, and the older ones, when they had dual projectors, they'd have a big reel here and a big reel down below, which of these of course don't have anymore because it's not used, and they would have the parts of the film in each reel, and they'd be switching between the projectors. And these special wheels up the top used to be completely enclosed, so and also there will be a fire trap, so if it did catch fire, of course it would catch fire in here where the light would be passing through the film. The acetate film would only burn up until the fire trap and wouldn't actually extend into the whole reel, which then you'd be in real trouble. And traditionally they would also have a bucket of sand placed down here just in case there was fire, and they'd be throw the sand over the top of anything that was burning just to make sure it put it out. And traditionally you would also have an asbestos blanket for also stopping any type of fires in the Firebox. Here we have what used to be the light dimmer for the theatre. Before, when the theatre was very old, etc., it had a beautiful roof with a light array on it, and these big levers with these big capacitors in here, etc., they would use these levers to dim the lights. Yes, everything was done by hand, and even as much that traditionally this theatre, before all this soundproofing was put on the wall, this total wall was completely covered in switches and circuitry to turn off lights, turn on lights, etc. In the old days, the theatrettes, as you know, were extremely ornate, having very sophisticated lighting systems, etc. Something I actually miss, and I love to go to those old theatres. There's still 1 or 2 of them around in Melbourne. But yes. Also we have here, as you can see, the retired 16mm projector. It hadn't been used for quite some time, and it had to be removed to make way for the digital projector here, which is a Christie ZX projector. And here we've got down here is the digital player which is a Cube Cinema digital player. And over here we've got the traditional rack with our amps down the bottom, as you would expect, an eCinema and automation system in here, and our traditional sound processor. Here's a Panastereo sound processor. And let me just show you over here. This is what used to be the escape hatch if anything went majorly wrong. There used to be a little hole down here that was permanently open with a ladder that they could scoot down and pull a rope behind them, which would close the hatch as they left. The door, there used to not to be a door here. Actually, it used to be over there, but everything's been moved around. I've been here for a couple of years, so I do remember that. And also traditionally, they don't really. All this, there used to be actually more room down this side of the bio box where they would use to do their construction and deconstruction of the reels. For example, putting on here. In the olden days, they didn't do that at all. They just put it on each projector, of course, and switch between them. And then have a little room like this that's been moved over here, where they have their winding reels to rewind the film if it need be, or if something majorly goes wrong, they can make a change here quickly. But usually in most big theatres, they have a work room where they will do all the winding and construction of reels, etc. At the moment, that's way down the back of this theatre. This theatre's used to be one very large theatre, as it traditionally was, but now it is 5 theatres. It's been split up into many theatres, and also been extended to be 5 theatres, which is what you really need these days. The economies of scale, you need at least 3 screens to be viable these days. Anyway, there you go. That's my quick overview of some of the issues, etc., that you needed to do in traditional film, and the dangers that it used to have, and the fact that to be a traditional projectionist you would have had to have had a degree, and an electronics degree, because there was so much going on with electronics, etc. As you can imagine, these old theatre projectors here have very large rectifiers, need very high amperage current, 3-phase power a lot of the time to actually get those xenon arc lamps going. Okay then, next I will probably cover more to do with installation of digital cinemas or DCI projection systems, and the in and outs and technical attributes of doing so, and what all these cables are for and what they're capable of, and the level of security involved, which is one of the very important parts of DCI. Thanks for listening. Bye.